Good afternoon. Security Watch welcomes you to INDISEC 2009. And with me, I have Mr. Robert Shore, who is the Director Global Sales of MDI US. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you very much for having me.
Robert, we'd like to know, given the fact that you have an impressive list of clients here that we see right behind us, you have provided security solutions to the Los Alamos National Laboratory,
Yes.
where nuclear testing is done by the United States
Yes.
research. And you also provided solutions to areas such as Area 51. Sometimes the existence of that place was even denied, right, at a point of time.
They did start to stop denying it about 4 years ago.
Okay, so you've been there, and we'd like to know a little more of how was that experience, the Area 51 experience.
Very interesting. Area 51 is emblematic of the integration of several different subsystems together, displaying interoperability and integration of multiple subsystems, whether they're perimeter sensors, fence and buried systems, volumetric sensors, video solutions, access control, biometrics, and the like, and other subsystems on the database level that are not privy exactly to us.
That's right. We also wanted to know, given the fact that a large number of viewers would be from the oil and gas and the power sectors, what has been your experience in remote monitoring and remote security rendered across large oil and gas and power assets stretched across miles or at remote locations?
Well, what's interesting first these days, especially within India, is the IT experience and the knowledge base that this region brings is much greater than we've experienced in the past and throughout the rest of the world where we've had our historical client base. They're starting from a much greater level of education in that regard so that we can provide our standard, point, and integrated local solutions and leaving the transportation of the data and information back home up to the client's understanding and knowledge base of typical physical carrier, wired carrier, fiber, and traditional and non-traditional microwave and wireless and mesh network infrastructures. So we wind up holding the customer less of a hostage than in the old days, or maybe even still in the mature markets of the West. So what we do is we focus on the right products and the right local solutions and marry them together with the proper command and control infrastructure and command center design, which is more of the forte of what we have from a product and a solution and implementation perspective. And that we use to deploy on how you are going to manage your solutions. So from that perspective, everything is, in general, a cookie cutter, besides choosing the exact sensors that may go at any one location. And that becomes more of a cost trade-off with the customer on what type of security level they would like at each individual facility.
Rob, we'd like to know, given the fact that you might have heard that India faces formidable threats from Naxalites. These are people who are operating in rural and semi-urban areas, and because they are part of the local population, they are in fact Indian voters, they are Indian residents who take up arms and then melt back into their houses. How can we, sensitize or arrange for sensors or monitor their movements so that they don't, trouble Indians as such?
Well, there's a couple of problems, and not all of them are electronic solutions. We've had these discussions with delegates who have been here throughout this and prior to us coming here. The problem is going to be with screening and human intelligence down at the ground level. That would be the ultimate, I'd say, solution to give us the knowledge to where to deploy, or us meaning us as the company, as well as cooperation with your senior ministry level people. And then you deploy electronic solutions which will be targeted in the areas that have shown to be high threat areas, either by human intelligence or by demonstration in actual fact, like we see in Nigeria as well with projects that we've worked on there, where there's certain villages which have a higher concentration, or certain geographical regions having a higher concentration of physical attacks typically. And so we secure against those in a more permanent fashion. We find solutions that are maybe more portable, transportable, that can do the totality of the electronic and video surveillance, but can be deployed rapidly and dropped in either covert or overtly. And what we do is we can, together with the government entity that we'd be working with, take measure of the success rates of those interdictions and the statistics of what we're actually preventing from happening and what the value of what is either being lost or damaged or stolen is and weigh whether we need to continue that type of program up and down a region. Most of the experience that I'd have in parallel with India is Nigeria, where they have similar transigent guerrilla forces that are causing either damage, or there's day-to-day populations of people who pilfer from the supply lines and go and sell the oil and make money. So solving some of those problems can be easier than others, but you're not going to necessarily, just because you have a good security solution, be able to solve the problem. It takes intelligence from the organization that you work with, from the government level down, to take the solutions and deliver them to the right spots. So it's not just a great solution, but it's the intelligence and the government's understanding and directing us as much as we direct them on the sensor level and the integration level of where we spend money most cost effectively.
Rob, you've done work with the railways, with the railroads of the US, across large trunk lines, across miles and miles of land. Indian railways, of course, have the third or fourth largest railway routes in the world. And again, over there, some tracks have been blown up, which can endanger those trains that are coming online. How do you propose, or have you studied how you can provide solutions to the Indian railways to take care of far-flung railway assets?
Right. The experience that we have is fairly far-flung. It's not just in the U.S., it's also in the U.K., although those projects are also transmitting the video live at intersections forward to the nearest platforms, so that we can detect either incidents in process or that will possibly happen. Then what we do is, in the U.S., we've designed the solution, the initial solution after 9/11, for the totality of the New York City subway system, which is about 478 or so stations. I understand the program here might be quite a bit larger, but the focus is still roughly the same. Certainly the transport media is going to be actually a little bit better over here, and the technology from several years ago is also better, allowing us to decentralize. So you've got larger facilities akin to, in the U.S., the Times Square and the Penn Station type facilities, and then you have the smaller facilities and stations, some of which might be underground, some might be above ground. There are different point sensors and video solutions and integration sensors that might be out in the field, and we can pull those together as needed in a cookie cutter type of fashion, identifying the type of either platform, underground, above ground, and the level of penetration within the tunnel structures themselves that is deemed to be acceptable. And then there can be multiple, say, warning levels that are issued. These days what we're also able to do is combine the information between the stations into the individual station managers and officers who are responding. Through our GPS solutions, we're also able to automatically deploy the sensor alerts to the responding forces, whether they be rail or police based, and they can automatically be sent information to come and respond to situations before even the central rail offices have been notified of the actual incidents.